Congratulations to Marvel on one of their greatest and most successful projects to date, the Avengers 2. And what's up next for Marvel? It's the upcoming release of The Black Widow starring Scarlett Johansson, and The Amazing Spider-Man 3 is on the way out as well. I posted the trailer for The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and Black Widow, in addition to all the conversation about The Avengers 2, over on our Facebook page at HEW Entertainment and on Twitter at Jonathan Clarke 1. And yes, I will not cover up the fact I am a huge superhero slash comic book freak. I have been for years, and I love the people. I have a tremendous amount of profound respect for people who go out and keep these comic books in mint condition. I have spoken to several individuals over the years who keep these comic books in mint condition, and literally in mint condition. They keep them in plastic bags or plastic cases, and there isn't a page turned or wrinkled in the magazine. The cover is in mint condition. All the pages are in their original form. It's amazing how many people think so much over these comics, and I'd say the majority of the people who gave the numbers to the Avengers this past Friday were comic book freaks and young people within the age demographic of, I'd say, maybe 3 through 7 years of age. It's amazing the response the Avengers got. As I've spoken about many times here on the show, my nephew is a huge Avengers fan, especially of Iron Man and the Hulk, and he's still trying to master the concept and understand the concept of people like the Hulk and Iron Man, and he's really in love with this sort of thing, and I know he was really excited about the premiere, just as you probably were as well. The HD trailer and some exclusive interviews can be found on our Facebook page for you at HEW Entertainment, and on Twitter with Jonathan Clarke. When I posted those for you some time ago. This week on our show, what I have for you is you can join the conversation on our Facebook page at HEW Entertainment, and on Twitter with Jonathan Clarke 1. It is the suspension of Brock Lesnar and his inevitable return. And I say it's inevitable because Brock Lesnar has to return to WWE, especially after announcing to the world on SportsCenter that he had re-signed with WWE, and I think that is definitely going to be the circumstance we will witness with Brock Lesnar re-emerging somewhere. I'm just trying to figure out when, where, and how Brock Lesnar will reemerge, and I think it's going to be really soon, especially if Seth Rollins holds on to that championship. Originally, what I thought was going to happen was he was going to return at Extreme Rules and maul Seth Rollins inside the cage, but that didn't happen, and it was just a straightforward match between Seth Rollins and Randy Orton with some interference on the behalf of the Authority members, in particular Kane. I don't know what it is with the feud involving Kane, the Authority members, including Seth Rollins, and why Brock Lesnar hasn't returned. Was expecting Brock Lesnar was going to return and maul Seth Rollins inside the cage, and I was depressed because I didn't see that. So I'm still trying to figure out when, where, and how Brock Lesnar is going to reemerge. You cannot take someone on the level of a Brock Lesnar out of the storylines completely and expect us to forget that Brock Lesnar was there and that he lost the championship at WrestleMania 31, because with just as many fans as what we had of Roman Reigns going into WrestleMania 31, with how many fans Roman Reigns had going into his match with Brock Lesnar, there were just as many Brock Lesnar fans who were pissed off at the conclusion and the end result of the championship main event being changed from an advertised one-on-one match originally to a triple threat match. That was the thing. That's the key about the Money in the Bank. I understand what the Money in the Bank means to someone who holds the Money in the Bank, especially those who hold it for a significant amount of time, like Rob Van Dam and Dolph Ziggler have done in the past. But I really don't appreciate how the Money in the Bank was used this year. The first person ever to cash in at WrestleMania during the main event, changing the original advertised one-on-one match to a triple threat match, which, in my opinion, was false advertising on the part of WWE. If you were going to have a triple threat match as your main event of WrestleMania 31, just as you did the previous year at WrestleMania 30, the only difference was the original triple threat match with Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Batista was originally advertised as a triple threat match. This was false advertising because going into the main event of WrestleMania, we thought it was going to be a one-on-one match. Halfway through an incredible match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, which was anticipated for it to have been, here comes Seth Rollins with the briefcase, cashes in, and changes the complexion and direction of WWE entirely. Didn't agree with that at all. And then the follow to WrestleMania 31, Brock Lesnar has announced that he's indefinitely suspended because of his actions towards a cameraman and Michael Cole. And I've said this about what happened to Michael Cole numerous times because I still stand to it. I'll say it again. Michael Cole was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And what happened to him is something that you have to expect when you're an employee of WWE. Anything can happen for the purpose of ratings. And that's why this was done. That's why the cameraman suffered a couple of F5s. That's why Michael Cole suffered the F5. But anyone who knows anything politically about professional wrestling will understand this. The fact that there were workers who were put in the position to be F5'd or to be put in a threatened position. That was just a worker dressed up as a cameraman, and Michael Cole knew going into Monday Night Raw on the fallout of WrestleMania 31 that this was going to happen to him, and he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And what they should have done is bring back someone like a JR or a Josh Matthews, but they can't bring Josh Matthews back because he's under contract with TNA Wrestling. How unfortunate. Josh Matthews went to brighter horizons with his wrestling career. He had better horizons to pursue, and he's having a great time for himself in TNA. So they brought Michael Cole back quicker than what I had expected, and nothing that I predicted about Michael Cole happened. I thought he was going to sue Brock Lesnar, either that or come back as, say, the manager of Seth Rollins in a feud with Brock Lesnar over the championship. That didn't happen. Now, it's not saying that it's not going to happen, but hopefully something probable will happen in the fall of Michael Cole suffering the F5. I'm wondering who, if not Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar will come back and have an issue with. I'm anticipating it's going to be with Seth Rollins, but because nothing was followed up with Michael Cole being F5, the chances of Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins may not happen now. And by the time Brock Lesnar returns, let's say if it's by SummerSlam, Batista could be back and could be champion by the time Brock Lesnar returns, for all we know. That's the thing about WWE. Anything can happen at any given time. That is a slogan, that is a saying WWE have implied for years, and that could be more true with professional wrestling. I mean, take, for example, we never thought Sting would be in a WWE ring or work with WWE. That's what we thought. That's what we assumed ever since at least 2005, for the better part of the last decade, when that controversial YouTube video was leaked on the internet with Sting claiming he never worked for Triple H and the McMahons under a WWE contract. Now he goes back on his word, proving to be someone that he isn't, coming into WWE and feuding with Triple H based off real-life animosity, obviously. We never thought that would happen, so stranger things have happened. So be it that stranger things have happened, maybe we will see Brock Lesnar feud with the likes of Batista, a match we thought we would never see and was supposed to have happened originally at WrestleMania 30, where all the frustration lied with Batista. I mean, he was originally planned to come back, win the Royal Rumble, which he did, go to WrestleMania and beat someone the caliber of Brock Lesnar to be champion. He never thought, he didn't know he was going into WrestleMania to tap out to Daniel Bryan and the S-Lock, which is what happened. That was the fate that befell Batista for WrestleMania 30, and that's why he was so frustrated and quit a couple of months after WrestleMania, because he realized he was getting nowhere with the second half of his career, which usually doesn't happen for a name like Batista. Usually the second half of a wrestler's career really defines their character, and the same thing can be said about Brock Lesnar. This second half of Lesnar's career, from the earlier years in the early thousands, from 2002 to 2004, yes, it did an incredible amount of justice for Brock Lesnar, because it paved the way and opened the door for the MMA and the UFC to offer Brock Lesnar a contract and to be a UFC champion. He left a three-time WWE champion in 2001, NCAA Division I champion. He had won the King of the Ring and the Royal Rumble. He had done it all. He goes from there to the UFC, dominates there as the UFC champion. Nobody could beat Brock Lesnar after losing his first UFC fight. He definitely rebounded, if ever the phrase rebounded and popular by demand ever ran true. Definitely what happened with Brock Lesnar losing his first fight is definitely true, because Lesnar loses and comes back and dominates, goes to the top of the UFC mountain as champion. Nobody could beat him. Someone the size of CM Punk comes in, causes Brock Lesnar to have a stomach injury, and he's back in WWE. And this second half of Lesnar's career, despite his suspension from the company, should be defining Lesnar, which I have no doubt it eventually will. I mean, it defined Shawn Michaels, it defined The Rock, and it will definitely define Brock Lesnar, just as Sting coming to WWE in the second half of his wrestling career from his earlier years as the Crow in WCW and the original Sting, the Bleach Blonde Sting. This will define Sting's character. That's the thing about Legends contracts. They require you to only wrestle 3 or 4 times a year, and this is why Lesnar kind of comes and goes. Lesnar kind of comes and goes under the bizarrest of circumstances just to give him time off, and this is obviously what Lesnar is put in for now after announcing re-signing, and this is obviously why Lesnar announced he was re-signed with WWE prior to WrestleMania, because he knew he was going to be suspended as a wrestling angle, and he wasn't going to be coming back for a few months. So obviously that's why the announcement was dropped on SportsCenter, because Brock Lesnar didn't want to come on television on a WWE show and announce it. He wanted to do it on a more wider media-based form, and he got the opportunity to do that on SportsCenter, a video I posted over on our Facebook page at HEW Entertainment, which got a lot of views, and on Twitter at Jonathan Clarke 1. So it didn't allow him to come on WWE. He didn't have to do it. It didn't require him to do it. And the announcement had gotten out of the way, and less than 24 hours after WrestleMania, Lesnar loses the championship, comes out, challenges Seth Rollins in an impromptu match. It wasn't an official match, and Stephanie, being one of the principal owners, comes out and says she owns Brock Lesnar. Despite suspending him, he's still under contract, and he will get his rematch. That's something else. Stephanie promises Lesnar will get his rematch. We just don't know when, where, and how, and what the circumstances will be of Lesnar getting the opportunity to have this rematch presented to him, which is something I'm really looking forward to. Something else I got to stress for you, too, is this is a wrestling angle, because there are people out there who believe everything they see on professional wrestling, with no disrespect towards you. This is strictly a wrestling angle. This is not a legitimate thing that happened with Lesnar snapping. Some people believe that this is a legitimate angle which happened. Lesnar was forced to snap because of what had been dealt to him at WrestleMania, and because it didn't go the way Lesnar had anticipated for it to go. But I stress to you, this is a wrestling angle, and this was written into the professional wrestling script, and it was made so real for us to believe that WWE actually got away with putting it off as something that actually happened. There are people out there who believe that Lesnar actually snapped. And I said this about the indefinitely suspended video blog that I threw up some time ago on our YouTube channel at Jonathan Clarke 1 concerning Brock Lesnar, at Jonathan Clarke 22 concerning Brock Lesnar. I said that this was a wrestling angle, and this is what this really is. This is a wrestling angle because WWE can't come up with more ways to put out Brock Lesnar and to give him some time out, because Lesnar keeps coming and going. And when somebody keeps coming and going as many times as what Brock Lesnar has over the years, there are only so many angles you can come up with to convince people that he's gone for a legitimate reason. And this is obviously the only thing they had left, or the only thing they could come up with, either or, for Brock Lesnar. So they put it off and put it off and put it off. They keep putting it off as Brock Lesnar suspended, and he may never come back. And they went as far as to post a statement. This is one I thought was absolutely ludicrous and absolutely ridiculous. If you went over to WWE.com a couple of days after Lesnar's suspension, you would have noticed the press release that was posted in the top headline